My name's Ashton. I'm 22 years old from Spokane, Washington, fighting out of Sigjitsu.
Cool. How long have you been with Sigjitsu?
I've been with Sigjitsu about 3 years now. We started in, I want to say, late summer of 2019 is when I found Rick.
What do you think is the most unique part of being a part of Sigjitsu?
Probably just the mentality. I mean, it's kind of like old school Rocky gym type feels, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have any fancy equipment, but we got legit fighters. Proof is in the pudding when you come to Sigjitsu.
How did you find Sig? How did you start training here?
So one of my buddies started training here first, and he had his first fight. Went and watched his first fight, and actually the next day I came in and started training. So
Okay.
My buddy's last day here was my first day because he's going out to college. So pretty much got to practice in with him, and I felt like I was just fed to the wolves because I didn't really know anyone. It's just go give it a shot.
Did you have any fighting experience beforehand?
Just street fights, honestly. Me and my brother would always get boxing gloves every year for Christmas and go crazy in the backyard, and yeah, just fighting at school, outside of school, friends, enemies. Most kids.
When did you take your first fight, and how many fights do you have now?
I took my first fight probably 4 or 5 months after. So I started training in September, and then my first fight was in February the next year. So not even like four months, I'd say. And then I fought 2 amateur fights, went pro, and I've had 5 pro fights this year.
Beautiful.
Or 4 pro fights this year and 1 last year.
Burning, turning.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself as a fighter? Give me this next year, and then where do you see yourself in 5 years if you keep going down this road?
So last year I actually quit my job. I went full in on fighting, and I made a 5-year plan. You know what I mean? In 5 years, I wanted to be first off in the UFC, second ranked in the top 15 in the welterweight division. And I wanted to kind of have my own business, but this is what I'm all in on. You know what I mean? So this next year, 2023, is the year of Ashton Charlton. I'm going to be either Contender Series, the Ultimate Fighter, something you're going to see my name on TV, fighting big names, getting that money, get my name out there, getting Spokane out there too.
Cool. And so it's all not easy and glamorous. What's the hardest part in your experience for being a fighter?
Probably think the hardest thing as a fighter is probably just fighting through, the grind. Every day is especially when you're a full-time fighter, you go from jiu-jitsu in the morning to speed and strength to MMA to kickboxing. It's not just one thing per day. So I'd say probably just, fighting through the pain, fighting through the little tweaks and little injuries, and just sticking to it.
Has MMA taught you anything that you carry into your everyday life, whether it's waking up in the morning or at the grocery store and with your relationships? Is there something big that MMA has taught you for life?
More just confidence, really. I feel like anyone who trains MMA or jiu-jitsu or any combat sports is just a little more confident because they know, that if it came to a conflict is never easy, no matter who it is, if it's some scrub or anywhere. Conflict is never easy. Also knowing that you have the power to control a situation. What worst comes to worst, I can handle myself, and now the people around me can too. So that's probably one of the things.
Do you remember your first memory of MMA, whether it was finding UFC on at some buddy's house or you had a favorite fighter growing up? What was your first memory of MMA?
I think I was visiting my dad. So my dad was with his friend out in Coeur d'Alene or something, and they were watching, I want to say it was Bellator because they had the red and blue gloves. But I was like, what, is this boxing? He's like, no, boxing's fucking stupid. This is MMA. I'm like, what the fuck? They had the little gloves and stuff. But that's the first memory I had of it. But really, I started getting into it when I was 17. That's when I really started getting it. Just even in watching it, every pay-per-view came out, I started getting excited when I was about 17.
What do you fight for when you're in the cage and it's nitty-gritty? What's running through the back of your mind, or what motivates you while you're in practice? Mostly just
I really, really want to be great. You know what I mean? Ever since I think my freshman year in football, I bought into that program. I really wanted to be a football player, and I worked hard. I knew I was a small kid, but if I worked hard enough, I could get big. You know what I mean? As long as the hard work kept going. So I think that really just buying in made this whole process easier. I was already used to doing this, and then kind of went off and started working and stuff. And then once I found MMA, I just wanted to grind and find something that I liked, and I really liked it. So I bought into this, and it just kind of took over from there.
So recently, very recently, I'd seen that your father had passed away. Give me your thoughts on kind of, it's a lot, but give me your thoughts on kind of all that in general in your everyday life, and then how does that impact you in the gym and in the cage?
I wouldn't say it impacts me a whole lot. I know that, you know, my dad loved this stuff a lot. So I was actually here when I got the call from my brother saying, you know, something's up with Dad, and I thought he was just sick or something. So I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna get back to practice. And I started thinking about it. I was like, I think he said he wasn't breathing or something, you know what I mean? So I was like, fuck. Came back here, started thinking about it, called him, like, I'm on my way, you know what I mean? But my dad loved this sport, you know what I mean? It's weird because he's always just like me. He taught me how to play baseball, taught me how to do sports and stuff. But once he found out I was into this, he was into it, just like I was. So it's just cool to be able to have some extra. I mean, I was already motivated before that, but it's cool to have that little extra motivation. You know what I mean? That he would like to see me doing this and like to see me keep on doing this, and you know, I'll just never stop.
Beautiful. What's your go-to walkout song?
Like I said, you know, I mean, my music changes every time. I've never walked out to the same song. I might not, but so far I think I like Still by the Ghetto Boys because I like that OG shit.
Anything else you got?
Just, I'm excited to, you know, make a dent on this game, and I'm going to make my footprint, and I'm excited to have you guys with me. And I think that if you guys buy in now, you'll be able to say in the future, you know, I told you I was riding with this dude all along, and I'll be able to prove you right.